Hello and welcome to the Bald Truth Review, episode 6. I'm going to start this week's episode with a thank you. A thank you to all those who've signed the online petition in support of banned US journalist Leah McGrath Goodman. The petition has got more than 2,300 signatures now and it's climbing steadily, so I can't thank you enough for that. And just say to you, please tell everyone you know, if they haven't signed it, do so, because in the long run, I think it will make a big difference. Now, of course, Miss Goodman got banned from the island when it came to light that she was investigating the Haute-Le-Gren child abuse scandal. She'd been working in the island for many months, quite happily with a business visitor's visa. This is the visa that's the standard visa for journalists working in the island. Yet, once it came to light what she was working on, for some reason, some inexplicable reason, she no longer met the criteria. Now, I can update you on the fact that after many months of conference calls, email exchanges, phone calls across the Atlantic, Miss Goodman has applied for another visa. Which visa? It's the business visitor's visa. The very same visa that she had in the first place. You know, for those of us in the island who really love Jersey, as I do, reputation is so important, and yet our reputation is being tarnished. Frankly, we're being made to look a laughingstock. We've got revelations coming out about Jimmy Savile, new allegations it seems every day, and Jersey, a democracy, is still banning a journalist. What does this make people in the outside world think? All I can say to you is that it's doing a great deal of damage to the island. We need to get Miss Goodman's visa status reinstated, and the sooner that is done, the better for all concerned. Otherwise, the question will remain, the suspicion will remain, Jersey has something to hide. Now this week, States members' pay raised its ugly head into the public arena once again, as it does almost every states assembly. Now, I can say personally that I certainly won't be taking any pay rise. It's completely untimely, it's insensitive within the economic climate. Essentially, it's completely unfair when you have people facing pay freezes and when you have our government, frankly, making a whole mess of economic planning. But it does seem that the irony in all of this has been lost, because you had this on the front page of the Jersey Evening Pravda with the Constable of St Saviour, telling other members that they weren't worth the money. Now, this is a constable who we know has got a beautiful singing voice. But it's just as well we do know she's got a beautiful singing voice, because since she's been elected, I think she's spoken 3 times. I don't believe she's put in any questions, she's put in no amendments, she's brought no propositions, she takes no part in debates. Is she worth the money? Well, I would probably say, no, she isn't. But is this the only way some people can get into the public eye? She's spoken 3 times. Every time it's actually been unparliamentary language and she's been pulled up on it by the chair. States members should not be taking a pay rise come January. I won't be doing it, and I'm sure most members won't. However, what we must remember here is that when we read headlines that Senator Gorst, Chief Minister Gorst, is going to block the pay rise, that should set alarm bells ringing, because we'd then be on a slippery slope. Jobs in the Council of Ministers are already handed out on a jobs for the boys basis. Jobs are not given on ability or background experience. And if we can start interfering with an independent panel's advice on salaries, then I think we are, as I say, on a very slippery slope. Now, this week also saw a very rare occurrence in the Jersey Evening Pravda. And this revolved around an excellent piece of fair, balanced, good reporting by Holly Robertson. This was in regard to my proposition calling for September the 28th to get official recognition as Reform Day. This, of course, goes back to the events of 1769 and the uprising of ordinary working people. Now, Holly's piece was very good. As I say, it was very fair, it was very balanced. As a consequence, I actually took the trouble of phoning her up and congratulating her on the piece. I probably should have also said that if she continues down this path of fairness and balance and accuracy, she'll probably find herself writing the shopping page before she knows it. But normal service was quickly resumed when former political correspondent Ben Carey started to get a bit shirty in his column. He described me as bitching and moaning. Excellent journalism, it has to be said. But it was more information really from Mr. Carey that was the problem here. He accused me of attacking the judge in my case. Well, of course, as we know, this isn't true. All I've done is raise concerns about being able to get a fair trial in Jersey, which I think Mr. Carey will find everyone is entitled to under Human Rights Article 6. But shouldn't Mr. Carey really be asking the question, isn't it a problem that we have an individual allowed to become a jurat, sit there for 14 years when he was happy to put the good name of a school and reputation ahead of protecting vulnerable young children from paedophilia? Of course, the Jersey Evening Pravda has form in this area, it has to be said. No one will be able to forget the way they set about so diligently to try and trash the child abuse investigation and the reputations of Mr. Power and Mr. Harper. The questions that have arisen recently about Jimmy Savile would suggest that there's a whole lot more digging to be done, a whole lot more questions to be asked that should have been asked several years ago. So if I was Mr. Carey, I would try and focus on the real issues at hand. And questions without answers took on a whole new feel this week when the questions that I'd put in, my written questions, sent to the Greffiers office via email, apparently disappeared into cyberspace. Why? No one really seems to know. But what's interesting here is that one of my key questions was to the Home Affairs Minister, asking him to supply an audit trail for the teeth and the juvenile bone fragments, etc., that was unearthed within the Haute Le Gren investigation. What I wanted to know, because we've never got proper answers here, is where were those fragments? Where was that evidence sent? When was it sent? Who was it sent to? Who examined it? And just as importantly, where are those fragments now? Does indeed the Home Affairs Minister even know where that evidence is now? I've also got a second question in, which is referring back to a promise made by the Home Affairs Minister when he said that if new evidence came to light, he would ask the Chief Police to reopen Operation Rectangle. Well, with the Jimmy Savile revelations, of course, there is new evidence, and yet our new Chief of Police has been very, very quiet. Strange, you might think, because when there was new police motorbikes to be had and nice shiny white helmets, the police chief was very visible. He was on the news, he was in the paper almost every week. Hopefully he'll have something to say on the issue of Jimmy Savile, something that is of far more seriousness, it has to be said. My questions are in for Tuesday. If you can, listen to the States debate and perhaps finally we'll get some answers, because last time the Home Affairs Minister was asked about an audit trail, he actually said that he didn't understand what an audit trail was. Remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason, abuse of the data protection law and plot. What am I talking about? Super injunctions, of course. Because this Monday, the 5th of November, sees the latest top secret hearing in the Royal Court. a super injunction that you, me, the public at large will have no access to. Now let's put this in perspective. We've already banned highly respected US journalists from entering the island simply because of the subject she was looking into, child abuse. We've seen our independent electoral commission hijacked to ensure that the establishment party get the form of reform that they want. Yet this is possibly the most serious matter of all. Because maybe the alleged former politician at the centre of this case has a case to answer. But if that is the truth of the matter, then any hearing should be in public. Democracies don't go down the route of secret hearings behind closed doors. If they do, where will it all end? Well, I'll tell you where it will end. The result will be that citizens' media, bloggers, freedom of speech will be wiped off the internet. All that will be left will be the establishment party organs, such as the Jersey Evening Pravda. Can we afford to just have this narrow base of opinion management? One side of the story, one side of the coin put out all the time. You have to ask yourself, if you see citizens' media sites being closed down, what's happened? You should be in touch with your politicians, in my opinion. You should be expressing your views on this issue because it goes to the very heart of democracy. Coming soon, a Bald Truth Review special. The truth about our highly politicised judicial system and why it's been necessary to take these matters off Ireland. This is an exclusive that you won't want to miss. And remember, get involved, because if you don't do politics, politics will do you.